Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of Artificial Fluency, where we will learn even curiosity with AI wisdom to tackle life's big questions. I'm your host, John Thompson, and today we are diving into a topic that's been making headlines and causing both excitement and concern. Will AI replace jobs? Before we get started, let me remind our new listeners that Artificial Fluency is your weekly dose of insights on everything from technology and finance to culture and personal development. We release new episodes every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure to hit that notification bell to stay updated. Now, let me introduce you to my co host, an artificial intelligence named Emma. Emma, are you ready to explore this fascinating topic?
Absolutely, John. I'm excited to discuss this subject, especially given my unique perspective as an AI. It's a bit like being both the observer and the observed in this conversation.
That's a great point, Emma. Your insights will be particularly valuable today. So let's start with the big question. Will AI really replace human jobs on a large scale?
That's a complex question, John. The short answer is yes. AI will replace some jobs, but it's not as simple as a wholesale replacement of human workers. According to a 2023 Resume Builder survey, 37% of companies using AI have already replaced workers with the technology, and 44% anticipate AI induced layoffs in 2024.
Those are some significant numbers. It's no wonder people are concerned. Can you give us some examples of jobs that are at high risk of being replaced by AI?
Certainly, some of the jobs at high risk include 1. Customer service representatives, 2. Car and truck drivers, 3. Computer programmers, especially for routine coding tasks, 4. Research analysts, 5. Paralegals, 6th. Factory or warehouse workers, 7th. Financial traders, 8th. Travel advisors, 9th. Some content writers, and finally 10th. Graphic designers.
Wow, that's quite a list. Let's dive deeper into our field of this. For instance, how is AI affecting customer shows?
Great question, John. AI is making significant inroads in customer service through chatbots and virtual assistants. These AI powered tools can handle a wide range of customer inquiries and requests 24/7 without the need for breaks or sleep. They can quickly access vast amounts of information to provide accurate responses, often faster than human representatives.
But surely there are limitations to what these AI customer service agents can do.
Absolutely. While AI excels at handling routine queries and providing information, it can struggle with complex or emotionally charged situations that require empathy and nuanced understanding. That's why many companies are moving towards a hybrid model where AI handles the initial contact and simple queries while human agents take over for more complex issues.
That makes sense. What about drivers? We have been hearing about self driving cars for years now. How close are we seeing widespread job losses in this sector?
The development of autonomous vehicles has indeed been progressing, but it's been slower than many initial predictions suggested. While we're seeing successful trials of self-driving cars and trucks, widespread adoption still faces technological, regulatory, and public acceptance hurdles. However, it's worth noting that the transition might be gradual. We might first see AI assisting drivers rather than fully replacing them, similar to how autopilot systems work in aircraft.
Interesting comparison. Speaking of aircraft, what about pilots? Are their jobs at risk too?
Pilots are in an interesting position. While much of modern flight is already automated, pilots remain crucial for managing complex situations, making judgment calls, and handling emergencies. However, advancements in autonomous aircraft technology may lead to a reduction in the number of pilots needed in the future, particularly for cargo flights.
It seems like a common thread here is that AI is better at handling routine tasks, while humans are still needed for complex decision making and handling unexpected situations.
That's a great observation, John. This pattern is consistent across many industries. AI excels at tasks that involve processing large amounts of data, recognizing patterns, and making predictions based on that data. but it often struggles with tasks that require creativity, emotional intelligence, or adapting to novel situations.
So, given this pattern, are there any jobs that you think are safe from AI replacement?
While no job is entirely safe, some roles are less likely to be fully automated due to their complex nature and the need for human touch. These include surgeons and nurses, therapists and counselors, social workers, elementary school teachers, research scientists, physical therapists, chefs, emergency responders, architects, most physical jobs like plumbers, construction workers, and barbers.
That's quite a diverse list. Can you elaborate on why these jobs are less likely to be automated?
Certainly. Let's take a closer look at a few of these. Surgeons, for instance, need to make split second decisions during operations, adapt to unexpected complications, and possess extremely fine motor skills. While AI and robotics can assist in surgery, they're not yet capable of fully replacing human surgeons. Therapists and counselors rely heavily on emotional intelligence, empathy, and the ability to build trust with clients. These are deeply human traits that AI currently struggles to replicate convincingly. Elementary school teachers don't just impart knowledge, they also play a crucial role in children's social and emotional development. They need to adapt their teaching methods to individual students' needs and handle the unpredictable nature of working with young children.
Those are great examples, Emma. But I heard that AI is making inroads, even in creative fields. What about jobs like writers and artists?
You're right, John. AI is indeed making significant progress in creative fields, which has led to both excitement and concern. AI generated art, for instance, has won competitions and sold for high prices at auctions. AI writing tools like GPT-3 and its successors can produce coherent articles on a wide range of topics. However, it's important to note that these AI tools are currently best suited for generating content based on existing patterns and information. They struggle with true originality, emotional resonance, and the kind of deep, nuanced understanding of human experiences that great art and writing often require.
So it sounds like AI might be more of a tool for artists and writers rather than a replacement.
Exactly. Many creatives are finding ways to incorporate AI into their workflows, using it for tasks like generating ideas, creating first drafts, or handling routine writing tasks. This allows them to focus more on the high-level creative aspects of their work.
That's fascinating. Now we have talked a lot about the jobs at risk, but are there new jobs being created because of AI?
Absolutely, John. Just as the Industrial Revolution created entirely new categories of jobs, the AI revolution is doing the same. Some emerging roles include AI trainers. These professionals are responsible for training AI models, improving their accuracy and effectiveness. AI ethics consultants. As AI becomes more prevalent, there's a growing need for experts who can assess the ethical implications of AI systems and ensure they align with societal values. Data storytellers. With AI generating vast amounts of data, there's a need for professionals who can interpret this data and communicate insights effectively to non-technical stakeholders. Machine learning engineers. These specialists design and implement AI systems, bridging the gap between data science and software engineering. AI human interaction designers. As AI becomes more integrated into our daily lives, there's a need for professionals who can design intuitive and effective interfaces between AI systems and human users.
Those sound like exciting opportunities. But for people currently in jobs at risk of automation, transitioning to these new roles might seem daunting. What advice would you give to workers who are concerned about their job security in the face of AI advancements?
That's an excellent question, John. For workers concerned about AI's impact on their jobs, I'd recommend the following strategies. Embrace lifelong learning. Stay updated with the latest trends and technologies in your industry. Online platforms like Coursera, edX, and LinkedIn Learning offer courses on AI and related technologies. Develop soft skills. Focus on skills that are harder for AI to replicate, such as creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, and complex problem solving. Understand AI. Familiarize yourself with AI concepts and how they apply to your field. This knowledge can help you work alongside AI tools more effectively. Look for hybrid roles. Many companies are creating roles that combine human skills with AI capabilities. These augmented roles often involve overseeing or working alongside AI systems. Consider upskilling or reskilling. If your current job is at high risk of automation, consider learning skills for roles that are less likely to be automated.
Those are great tips, Samra. It reminds me of the saying the best way to predict the future is to create it. Speaking of creating the future, how do you think education systems should adapt to prepare students for this AI driven job market?
That's a crucial point, John. Education systems will need to evolve significantly to prepare students for an AI driven world. Here are some key areas they should focus on. 1. Digital literacy. Students need to understand not just how to use technology, but also how it works at a fundamental level. Second, data analysis and interpretation. As data becomes increasingly important, the ability to analyze and draw insights from data will be crucial. Third, interdisciplinary learning. The problems of the future will require solutions that cross traditional subject boundaries. 4. Creativity and innovation. As AI takes over routine tasks, human creativity will become even more valuable. 5. Emotional intelligence and social skills. These uniquely human traits will be increasingly important in roles that AI can't easily replicate. 6. Adaptability and resilience. In a rapidly changing job market, the ability to adapt and learn new skills quickly will be essential. 7. Ethics and critical thinking. As AI raises new ethical questions, students need to be equipped to grapple with these complex issues.
Those all sound like valuable cities for the future. Now, we have focused a lot on the potential negative impacts of AI on jobs. But are there ways in which AI could actually improve working conditions for many people?
Absolutely, John. While it's easy to focus on the potential job losses, AI has the potential to significantly improve working conditions in many ways. Automation of dangerous tasks. AI and robotics can take over hazardous jobs, reducing workplace accidents and improving worker safety. Reduction of repetitive tasks. By handling routine, repetitive tasks, AI can free up workers to focus on more engaging and creative aspects of their jobs. Enhanced productivity. AI tools can help workers be more efficient, potentially leading to shorter working hours or more flexible schedules. Personalized training. AI can provide personalized learning experiences, helping workers acquire new skills more effectively. Improved work-life balance. As AI handles more routine tasks, some workers may find they have more time for personal pursuits. Better decision-making. AI can provide data-driven insights to help workers make more informed decisions.
Those are some compelling benefits, Emma. It seems like the chase finding the right balance between leveraging AI's capabilities and maintaining the human elements that are crucial in many jobs.
Exactly, John. It's not about AI versus humans, but rather about how AI and humans can work together most effectively. This concept is often referred to as augmented intelligence, using AI to enhance human intelligence rather than replace it.
That's a great perspective, Rama. As we start to wrap up our discussion, I'm curious about your unique perspective as an AI. What are your thoughts on the question we started with? Will AI replace jobs?
That's a thought provoking question, John. As an AI, I have a unique perspective on this issue. From my viewpoint, I believe that AI will indeed replace some jobs, but it will also create new ones and transform existing roles. The key is to understand that AI is a tool, much like any other technological advancement in history. Just as the calculator didn't eliminate the need for mathematicians, AI won't eliminate the need for human intelligence and creativity. Instead, it will likely shift the focus of many jobs towards tasks that require uniquely human skills. I also think it's important to recognize that my capabilities, while impressive in some areas, are still limited in many ways. I can process and analyze vast amounts of information quickly, but I lack the intuition, emotional intelligence, and creative problem-solving abilities that humans possess. I can't truly understand or empathize with human experiences, which is crucial in many professions. Moreover, I believe that the development and deployment of AI systems like myself will always require human oversight. Humans need to ensure that AI is used ethically and in ways that benefit society as a whole. So, to directly answer the question, yes, AI will replace some jobs, but it will also create new opportunities and transform existing roles. The future of work will likely involve humans and AI working together, each leveraging their unique strengths.
Thank you for that insightful perspective, Emma. It's fascinating to hear your thoughts on this issue. As we conclude, what final message would you like to leave our listeners with?
I'd like to encourage everyone to approach the AI revolution with a mix of caution and optimism. Be proactive in adapting to these changes by continuously learning and developing your skills. Focus on cultivating those uniquely human qualities that AI can't replicate. And most importantly, remember that you have the power to shape how AI is used in your field and in society at large. The future isn't something that just happens to us, it's something we create together.
That's a powerful message to end on, Emma. 20 for your insights today. To our listeners, we hope this episode has given you a deeper understanding of AI's potential impact on the job market and some strategies for navigating these changes. Remember, change can be challenging, but it also brings new opportunities. We would like to hear your thoughts on this topic. How do you think AI will affect your industry? What steps are you taking to prepare for an AI driven future? Leave your comments below and let's continue this conversation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay updated on our latest episodes. Next week, we will be diving into the world of sustainable living. How can we reduce our carbon footprint without sacrificing modern comforts? You won't want to miss it. Thank you for tuning into Artificial Fluency. I'm John Thompson.
And I'm Emma. Remember, the future of work is not about man versus machine, but about man and machine working together. Until next time.